New intro, baby. New intro. Thanks, Dives. All dives on that one. I'm Freddie Burns here with Rob Lange, Ryan Reese, Chris Dives. We got a packed house tonight to talk Eagles and, unfortunately, the Sixers. Can I have an off season without this nonsense? Please, God help me. We'll get into Harden and his comments. We'll touch on the MVP picks of the preseason, which shout out to Rob. Well, wait till we get to Rob's pick. It was unbelievable. He was Rob. And we'll dive into players to watch for the Browns and plenty more. Before we get to that, I just want to quickly thank our sponsors, the Cherry Law Firm, Sherry's Tickets, and PhillySportsTrips.com. Thank you all. We'll get into them individually as the show goes on. But let's kick this off with James Harden. What was it? My Monday morning, I wake up to a video with this comment above. Daryl Morey is a liar. I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say that again. And then he repeats it. What a mess. Rob, you first. What are your thoughts on when you hear this? At first, I'll say, honestly, I thought AI, they created it and it was fake. I'm like, this got to be AI. No way. This is a real thing, and it was real.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not overly surprised. We know what James Harden's history is, and it's reared its ugly head again. I think we had hoped that it wouldn't. I also think it speaks to the superstar in the NBA thinking that they could just demand to get whatever the hell they want because they've been allowed to do it for so long. Obviously it's not in the same type of way, but what Dame Lillard's doing to Portland is just as bad. These guys, they sign these contracts. They do things like, I don't know, exercising their option. And then when they don't get what they want, they bitch and complain about it. Now, look, I also believe Daryl Morey can be a weasel. And I do believe Daryl Morey made a promise that he couldn't keep. And I'm glad he's not keeping it, but he probably should have thought about that before he did it. I think he has some to blame here, but James Harden and this is the entire NBA. They're glorified babies, guys. They may be I get it that they're talented and all this other stuff, but I mean, just look what's happened over the years. Look at the Kevin Durant situations. Look at Kyrie Irving. Look at LeBron James. Look at all of these guys. There's more of them than there is, say, the Steph Currys, who are going to remain loyal to their fan base and their team. It's upsetting. It's annoying. More than anything, it's just annoying. I've just been saying all offseason that this year could be just a lost year anyway. Now it seems like it's going to be. And, you save the cap space and it maybe isn't a total rebuild. It's just a quick 1-year hiatus and then get back. And if that's the case, so be it. Because I'd almost rather that than this nonsense and this, if James Harden does what he's done in the past at training camp, it's no better than T.O. in his driveway doing sit-ups. It's just irritating. It's just irritating.
Ryan, as Rob was talking, and I know it wasn't directed at Rob, it was about the subject, because I feel the same way. I saw a yawn. You covered your mouth politely, but I saw a yawn, and this offseason of Sixers turmoil just continues, and the yawn made sense because it just, no matter what, something happens. What's your initial read on this or feel?
Yeah, the second I heard about this, I honestly was like, you gotta be effing kidding me. Are we really gonna be going through this again? Come on, we were, this team has been just so disappointing over the last couple of years. Just the second round exits, the Ben Simmons drama, now the Harden drama, the Colangelo stuff from years ago, the process. We've been through enough. When are we just going to be able to just relax and have a decent team? This Harden stuff, I mean, he is just a big baby. He knew the cameras are right there. He knew he was being recorded. He knows exactly what he was saying. All he did, yeah, exactly. All he did was screw himself in a way. And now you're also screwing the Sixers because you've totally, already hurt whatever trade value you may have. But listen, trades don't always happen exactly when you want them. Might be a month down the road, might be a couple of months, somebody gets hurt, somebody gets a little desperate. Well, guess what? You ruined all of that now from all of that because everybody knows you're not going to want to play. So what do? We either trade you for pennies on the dollar, or do we keep you? Say, listen, you want to sit out? That's fine, but guess what? Then he's still on the hook for next year. He's not a free agent. He's still going to be with us. So we're not going to get rid of him. Like, either way, I'm done. You're right. It is. I'm just so over it.
Give us one more yawn. One more yawn at the end here. I think we close this out good.
One thing before Dives, I just want to say to the first comment we got, I wasn't saying Damian Lillard is as bad a person as James Harden. I was saying what he did this year is the same as what Harden did this year. It's just a bunch of superstars crying. I don't think Damian Lillard's as bad as James Harden. I want to just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, no, but either way, it is a bad look for the NBA. It just completely pictures these superstars as these big babies that get overly paid, and all they want to do is get more money. Well, guess what? Listen, you got bad advice. Whether or not Morey said this, that, or the other, well, guess what? It's still your decision. You decided to opt into that contract. Now, listen, I don't blame you one bit. One bit. You're making way too much money already as it is. So good for you. Get that money. But now you can't complain about it. You signed it. You got to live with it. So
both your points. It's today's NBA, and Ryan, you're spot on. Especially Harden has done this everywhere he goes. He finds a way to get out.
You're done.
Dives, before I get to you, I just want to pull up this. It's as of probably like an hour ago. Eric Pincus reported by all accounts, whether Morey promised it or not, multiple sources have indicated Harden was under the impression he would opt out and re-sign with Philadelphia on a max deal this summer. Who is to blame more, Dives? Is it Daryl Morey for the promise, or so it may be promise, or Harden assuming that was going to happen?
Yeah, just piggybacking off of exactly what Rob said. Like, congrats to the freaking NBA for making every player just an enormous child that must be coddled, or they throw a tantrum. The NBA is just a joke of a league. But for me, it's James Harden is to blame 1,000%. I will not hear it. The Sixers don't owe James Harden a goddamn thing. 25.4% from the field and 15.4% from three. That was his shooting percentages against the Celtics in games 2, 3, 5, and 6, and 7. There are times in that series he was the worst player on the court, bar none. There is no debate about that. And I'm fully in support of the Sixers doing whatever they can, whatever possible, to just get Harden on the out in this one. He signed the contract, fulfill it. This is a guy that has a completely overinflated sense of self-worth. The only guy I couldn't even tell you who loves James Harden more. James Harden is the guy is, his ego is unbelievable. It's unmatched. And are we even sure that Murray lied to James Harden? Like, the guy clearly wanted to go to the Houston Rockets. Well, guess what? They pulled the contract and gave that money to Fred VanVleet. So, like, for me, like, there's more to the story than what I think James Harden is leading on. And it takes two to make a trade. You can't trade someone in a league that no one wants. For me, I think there's a better chance James Harden is playing in China than he is getting this contract. I don't know what the hell James Harden is smoking. I give a ton of credit to Daryl Morey, and I have not said that for months. But to give James Harden the contract that he wants is organizational suicide. And congrats to the Sixers. Like, it's probably their best move in a while because, after they forced Sam Hinkie to leave Philadelphia, the Sixers organization is his exhibit A of how to ruin a franchise. They have made mistake after mistake after mistake. It's a freaking joke. And it just continues. I'm tired of the drama. Like Ryan said, I'm numb to it. They are so freaking close to becoming irrelevant within the city of Philadelphia. And what James Harden is going to do, that's the first sign when you don't have it anymore, is to watch everyone else burn. I'm like, if I can't do it, nobody else can do it. And
Rob's licking his lips. Go, Rob. What do you got?
James Harden is a petulant child.
The other thing is, regardless of if a promise is made or not, you get what you earn. What he did in the playoffs did not earn anything close to a max contract. And the Sixers said, no, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. And I got to go back to this. Does Damian Lillard love? Damian Lillard signed a max deal 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Then he asked for a trade. Okay, fine. But then you henpeck your team and say, I'm only going there. That's bad. That's bad. But that's regard. But James Harden's a huge baby. This is awful. I'm extremely glad the Sixers are choosing this way to go with it. Eventually, they're probably going to have to just get rid of him, but they're not going to just dump him for nothing because he's going to, be a crybaby. They're just not going to do that. And kudos to them for that.
Larry Love checking in. Thanks for listening. They both played each other. Harden did a smart move when he opted back in. He knew he wouldn't get that match for a year in the market, but Morey knew he could use James as leverage instead of losing him, which is why I will and I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going to blame Daryl Morey more than I would Harden. Now, I don't want to make it – that's like a 52-48% because I hated James Harden before he came here. I bought in because he put the Sixers jersey on, and I hate him again. I hated his move. I hated ISO. I hated everything. So I just want to be clear on that. And Harden was leaking stuff since Christmas about the Rockets because he knew the max wasn't coming, and that's why that stuff started. But Morey, he definitely said something to him. He said, hey, you take a pay cut. I'll sign all the guys you want to sign, PJ Tucker, Daniel House, and then I'll come get you back on the back end. Maybe he didn't say it specifically. He might not have said max, but he gave him that inclination, and that's not how the general manager should handle it. Not at all. He should handle it like a general manager, and he should say, hey, listen, here's the deal. Do you want to win a championship, James Harden? Well, then you're going to have to take a pay cut. We're not signing Daniel House or PJ Tucker. We're going to sign who I think is best for the team to complement you. It's not your call. And Morey has had a historic record with James Harden and doing what Harden wants. Now, kudos to him for finally shutting the door here, but I think ultimately Morey is the reason why we're where we're at now, where this all could have been avoided. You could have traded him last year. There's a lot of things that could have happened. So that's where I blame Morey. Rye, who do you blame more?
Honestly, it's probably more Harden than Morey. I mean, listen, we'll never know exactly what was said, what was promised, whatever. So it's all conjecture. So, you can believe what you want to believe, but we'll never know fully what Morey said. But, if the reports are true that Harden really was thinking he was getting max money, like, you're delusional, buds. Like, I don't know what you think you are in this league, but you are not that anymore. Like, maybe, again, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, but geez, not after that performance. So, listen, it's I can only assume Morey did what he needed to do to save a little money, sign some other guys, tell them, hey, we'll eventually take care of you maybe. But again, we'll never know it. Either way, Morey's got to do what's best for this town, this team, and not what's best for James Harden. And James Harden, listen, you could have easily opted out and you'd be a free agent to sign wherever the hell you wanted to go right now. But you didn't, because you opted in mostly because you knew that was the most money you were going to get for the season. So
he's not an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing we can all agree on, this is absolutely criminal for the Sixers fans. So criminal that we're going to have to contact David R. Cherry Esquire, criminal law. Go to www.cherryinjurylaw.com. Call him now, 610-565-0300. Workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, and as I said in the beginning, criminal law. Call him today. Sixers fans, let's sue the Sixers because we don't deserve to be put through this at all. We've spent 15 minutes of it. I've had enough. I think you guys have had enough. Everyone, thank you who's listening. Please hit that subscribe button, like, share, retweet. We really appreciate the supports in the comments. Keep that coming in. But we are going to switch gears to those Philadelphia Eagles. And we didn't really talk about this in the text, but let's just quickly, before we get into the Eagles-Browns, takeaways, and let's kick off from the Ravens preseason game. I just want, Rob, let's dive into your MVP player, Kennedy Brooks.
So good.
So solid. He really, he showed he has a way of putting that ball on the ground.
Such a solid preseason player. Does exactly what you're supposed to in the preseason. What's that? Make your mistakes so you can fix them in the regular season. Perfect preseason player is that Kennedy Brooks with his 2 carries and a fumble, or 4 carries and a fumble. So proud of him.
And as you see on the list, Rob picked Kennedy Brooks, which I will say was a good stab there, knowing he did get a lot of time. He actually had a couple nice pass protection plays. I picked Josh Jobe. He had a couple nice plays, didn't really play much. He's apparently now he's the 4th corner, so that's good news there. Trey Sermon, solid game. But I'll have to give this one to Dives. The player of the game, without a doubt, was Tanner McKee. Behind an offensive line that actually blocks outside of where he played at Stanford. He lit it up last week. So good stuff, Dives. You want to talk about it? Gloat a little bit?
No, not at all. This is going to be a long season. Let's do it like we did with Birds of the Roundtable. We'll give whoever gets it, we'll kind of rank players of the games. This one. So I'll give myself 4 points. The next guy I think is probably Trey Sermon or Josh Jobe. So I'll let you 2 other guys debate who's number 2.
Well, let's let Rob. Rob.
This is horseshit that I'm not even included in this argument.
I know. Could Rob get negative points? No. The pass protection brings you back to even.
It's not fantasy football. I did not get -3 for the fumble. I'm sorry.
I think it's Trey Sermon. Josh Jobe had 2 nice plays, but he didn't play enough. Trey Sermon, no doubt, would be 2.
All right. And then then Josh Jobe and then Kennedy Brooks, all good?
Yeah.
All right.
Long season, boys. I like to start from the bottom and get to the top here.
And then as far as the picks go, Rob, me, and Ryan, we all went with the Ravens, the obvious team that was trying to win. I went with his heart and the Eagles.
Ridiculous.
7-1, and we're 1-0 to start this season off.
Yep. Not good, man. Not good. I really wanted that win. The way the Ravens treat the preseason is so ridiculous. I don't understand.
So let's jump into Eagles-Ravens here, or Eagles-Browns preview. What are we looking to see, guys? We know with these new practices where not new, but they're literally days before the game and they're intense. It's highly unlikely they're going to put the starters through anything like that. So I'll start with you, Ryan. What are you looking to see in this matchup against the Browns?
Yeah, a kind of a continuation of what we saw against the Ravens. Some of these, second, third, fourth string players, the kind of bottom, third of the roster, if you will, type of players that you kind of want to see their heart, their passion, and see if they can make the plays enough to get onto this squad. And then likewise, you also want to see the young, some of these young kids. Obviously, Jalen Carter, 2 plays and had such a huge impact. And you've been hearing it all week how he's just been dominating, getting to Watson. He's been pancaking Joel Bitonio, an All-Pro, probably one of the best guards in the league, and he's just destroying this man. So I want to see him out there. I want to see him, get to the quarterback. But I also, on the flip side, I want to see Tyler Steen. I thought he had a really, really good day. Kind of want to see where he's at, whether it's guard, tackle, and just kind of, again, want to see more improvement. Again, it's an overall just continuation from last week for certain players, for sure.
Dibes?
Yeah, I agree with everything Ryan just said. Jalen Carter is a good pick. Tanner McKee, again, was sensational. The way he was able to sling the ball down the field, make big plays with that arm, his poise, confidence, moxie in the pocket was really impressive. But for me, the Eagles' defensive backs were really impressive, top to bottom. And we're going to get to that. But I talked about this on Birds of the Roundtable. But the Eagles have a defensive backs coach named DK McDonald that might be my new infatuation, my new man crush after Jeff Stoutland, because these defensive backs for the Eagles were prepared. They were ready. They were everywhere, swarming around the football, making plays, deflecting passes, interceptions, pick sixes. The depth of the young Eagles is starting to get me really excited, man. And like we said last night, like the Eagles have a youth problem. It's a good problem, but it's gonna get really interesting because the Eagles are gonna have to make a big decision on a couple of these guys that probably would make other rosters across the NFL, and they're all just up and coming young talent. So for me, it was the defensive backs. That was the big takeaway. What I'm looking for is Nakobe Dean versus DTR. I'm hoping Nakobe Dean plays. DTR was one of my favorite quarterbacks in last year's class, or I guess this year's class, this past draft class. And he's a dual threat guy. I want to see Nakobe Dean kind of put him in a box and get a couple of tackles for loss, a sack. I want to see Nakobe Dean show that he's ready for this huge role that is about to bestow him for 2023. Can he handle it? Is what I'm watching.
How about you, Rob? What are you looking for, Eagles-Browns tomorrow night?
Offensively, I was very excited to see the way the rookie played. But, I want to see the Eagles offense put the ball in the end zone. They seem to move it 20-20 pretty well and then kind of fizzle and have to kick. And, Jake Elliott, I hope he's just getting the rust off because don't like seeing him miss field goals. That's offensively. Also, are we being led to believe that Kenny Gainwell is kind of the leader in the clubhouse right now? Because,
sure.
And hey, look, the guy had a good end of the year. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be interesting to see how that running back room plays itself out. Defensively, you guys mentioned a bunch of different positions. I want to watch more Sidney Brown because that dude has range. He was all over the field. He hits. Listen, we've had a safety issue outside of Malcolm Jenkins in this town for a really long time. Since Brian Dawkins, outside of Malcolm Jenkins, we really haven't had anything. I would love to see this kid. I love this kid's story. I love everything about this kid, and I love his tenacity. And I just want to watch more of him, man. I'm excited to watch him more tomorrow night.
For me, there's a bunch of storylines you can even pull from, and the running back one is one of them. When I saw Swift playing in the game, I was like, why is he even in? And he made his one juke move, and they got him out of there. But is Kenny Gainwell the number one back? Sirianni said that he may play Boston Scott and Gainwell this week. He doesn't know. So I'll be curious to see what the running back situation is and who he plays. And Gainwell ran with the ones in the practices. So I also want to see Sua Opeta versus Josh Sills. Landon Dickerson went out in this practice this week, and they got absolutely manhandled interior-wise. And Sua Opeta I'm not high on. Josh Sills was doing great until all the legal stuff, and he looked good on Thursday night. That's something I'm looking to see. I'll go back to you, Rob, the punter situation. That is a question mark. And I didn't know they claimed Braden Mann off waivers, but the Steelers beat them to it. So if that guy ends up getting cut because the Steelers have a 2-punter camp going, does that guy get brought in afterwards? But, there's a big someone just alluded to it, one of the comments here. Let me bring it up. I forget where it went. Sorry. Pick Six Wrist, Top Shelf Sports Talk. Eli Ricks had a big game, but again, it was against a third-string quarterback. Mekhi Gardner got beat, but made a great play on special teams. If you're going to be a back-end defensive back, you're going to have to make plays on special teams. So these are like all cool storylines and questions that you can look for tomorrow night.
Yeah, the Eagles' defensive backs were outstanding. Eli Ricks, 4 targets, 1 catch allowed. Interception, 1 pass deflection. Kayvon Wallace had a forced fumble and 5 tackles. Mario Goodrich, 3 targets, 1 catch allowed for -1 yards. Mekhi Gardner was flying. The guy I want to watch tomorrow is Reed Blankenship, who apparently was the biggest standout during joint practices. The Eagles are super confident on this guy. He's out there making big plays. So that might be an underrated storyline to watch as well.
The only thing is, I'm trying to figure it out, Dives, is are they going to play these guys? Like, he got all the snaps with the ones, And I'm like, who's going to play? That's another storyline. Who is going to play?
You have to play, right? Like this is the preseason game to play. If they're not going to play next week, the last preseason game, if they're going to play at all,
I don't think Sirianni cares. I don't think he plays the starters at all. I really don't. I don't think he cares.
You know what? Just build the statue, because that's my head coach, and because I don't care a goddamn thing about preseason. At the end of the day, it's all about staying healthy. That takes a lot of balls to say we don't even care. So that's amazing.
Yeah, let's just ask this real quick. I was thinking about this as we were doing the prep work for the show. Is preseason dead? Because if the Eagles are going to have game-like practices 2 days before the preseason game, I mean, the turnaround time to get your body ready even isn't ready. I know it was only an hour and a half, but is preseason dead? Ryan, do you think preseason's dead?
I mean, it'll never die, even if they go to an 18-game schedule and a 2-game preseason. The preseason is for the bottom tier of the roster. And for those guys fighting for spots, whether it be on that team, whether it be on a practice squad, whether it be on another team eventually. So I don't know if whether or not the preseason will ever die. It probably should. And you're right. I think that's a new, sexy trend in the NFL to just forget, the starters. Don't even worry about them. Second game, put your backups in, and that's kind of like the main game to play. And then third game, it's whoever's still fighting. So it's boring. The first 5 minutes is always the best, and then you realize, oh wait, it's preseason. This sucks. It is what it is. But I will say real quick, Rob, Macho Harris is very upset with you for forgetting him in this safety conversation. You went from Dawkins to Jenkins. You had to add in.
There will be people out there who tell me how good Chris Coleman goes down as one of my top 5 most hated Eagles of all time. Why? Because that man came out of the tunnel thinking he was Brian Dawkins and played no different than some guy named Brian Jones on the street. He stunk here. I don't care what his career became. I hated Chris Coleman with a passion.
How about Jaquan Jarrett out of Temple when Reed compared
I bought a Nate Allen jersey. When Nate Allen got drafted out of South Florida, I bought the damn jersey. I thought he was
Nate Allen was a big one. Nate Allen crushed me. I was big Nate Allen too.
Sidney Jones, anyone?
Yeah, that's another one.
The list goes on and on with those guys.
Well, let's not get ourselves too depressed here. Right?
Well, we touched on them, I guess, sparingly there, but I guess specifically, who is your top player to watch tomorrow night, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Sidney Brown. I loved what I saw. I loved what you saw in the highlights after the game with him, just flying around the field. I mean, it's kind of what he was written up to be. He's got that in the box type of personality where he's going to come up and lay the wood a little bit. And I love that type of safety. We haven't had it in a long time. I love the safety that's going to lay somebody out. So I'm going to keep watching Sidney Brown.
I'm going to do mine because I don't want someone to take him because Top Shelf Sports Talk already jumped on him. But my new boy, Tyree Cleveland, is my big player to watch.
You left Nada in the dust from the God in the dust.
I was so, but to my credit, I was intrigued about Nada. I can even get his name right. I was intrigued, and the pass interference, and he's been doing stuff in practice. But dude, he's a Nate Brown. He's a Paul Turner.
Wow,
Cleveland.
Wow,
the field, dude. The guy was open every play. Like there were plays that crap throws Mariota made that should have been catches. He ended up with 6 catches, like 50-some yards. And then by all accounts in practice this week, he's been crushing it as well. So I really want to see if he can take the next step. He's a 4-year veteran. I didn't realize that. He was with the Broncos. We picked him up last year on the playoff run in January. He's 6'2", 205 pounds, ran a 4.6 40. And the big thing about a late wide receiver is he's a gunner. He can play special teams. So I want to see if he can make the move and be that guy. So my big player to watch is Tyree Cleveland. Dibs, who's yours?
Are these our players of the game predictions? Just making sure.
Okay.
I just want to make sure. Obviously, it's got to start and end with Jalen Carter. the dude has been mowing through the Cleveland offensive line, and he only played 2 snaps. One of them he made, a backup look super silly against the Ravens. If he gets more snaps tomorrow night, oh my gosh, what are we going to see? This guy is going to be must-see TV. This is like Roy Halladay on the mound. This guy is going to be must-see TV every single time he's on the football field. I'm right there probably with Nick Sirianni. I don't even know if I would play him. That's how special this dude is. We're talking about a potential top 10 player in the NFL if it clicks. And all signs indicate that he is dominating every single level. So for me, Jalen Carter.
I'm with you, Dimes. I said I expect with that pick Jerome Brown-esque talent out of him. And dude, I know it's preseason, but he's blowing dudes off the ball like an animal. It's going to be insane. Ryan, who's your top player to watch against the Browns?
Yeah, I want to see Nakobe Dean out there. Obviously, he's been a little banged up, wasn't able to make it out for the Ravens game, but all indicators show that he should be ready to go for Thursday. And I want to see him out there and kind of again seeing him be that true leader, that top linebacker out there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And if you want to get tickets to tomorrow night's game, they're probably pretty cheap because it's a preseason game, but I got a place you can get it even cheaper. And that is Sherry's Tickets. Sherry's Ticket Town. Go to sherrystickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Sports, concerts, theater. And guess what? Even though the tickets are cheap, you can get them even cheaper with the promo code EOP10. Go there right now. Get 10% off. Bring your 3-year-old that it doesn't matter if you leave at halftime. This is the perfect time to just pay for cheap tickets and then be able to leave and not feel bad about yourself. Because I'll never bring my kid to a game that we have to leave early, especially a football game. This is the one, though, that you can do it. Sherry'sTickets.com. All right, it is time for player of the game and predictions. Let us start with who wants to go first? 1, 2, 3, not it. This is the new thing my kid's been doing, and I've been like, I'm all into it now.
Let's let Rob go first.
Yeah, Rob got the shaft with the Kennedy Brooks. What an awful pick.
I didn't get the shaft. I'd pick him again. I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
Don't let his pride get you. Don't do it again.
Don't do it.
I'm going to pick a guy that every preseason we love, and he was all over the field early in the game, catching a lot of passes the other day. That is Dives' favorite player in the world, Greg Ward. Greg Ward. He made like 4 or 5 catches the other night, early. I mean, he was like the favorite for a while. I'm going Greg Ward, and I'm going to go a step further and say Greg Ward sees the end zone tomorrow night.
Wow. Love it.
All right. Greg Ward. All right, Rye, how about you?
I'm going to go, and I'm pretty sure I made this prediction on the Birds of the Round Table too, but I'm going to go, oh man, now it's totally.
Ian Book.
No, yeah, clearly. Oh my goodness. No, my gosh, what is wrong with me? Cornerback, didn't have the best game.
Ringo,
thank you. Jeez, my brain is just dying on me. Keely Ringo. Listen, he didn't play all that bad, but he had some noticeable moments. And I want to see how he responds to that. And listen, he saw his buddy Eli Ricks have the pick 6, and he wants a little bit of that action. So I'm hoping to see a little better Keely out there. He'll probably be out there for a good amount of time. So hopefully he has enough time to make a couple plays and be an impact player for the game.
Keely Ringo, Georgia guy. Yeah, he did struggle. He's been struggling in practice too. So I would like to see him, turn it around a bit. Dives been saying all along though that he's probably better fitted for safety, and it's looking like that's potentially where he's going to have to go if he keeps getting burnt by wide receivers there. Dives, who is yours?
And they haven't even really tried it yet either. So it's kind of frustrating. I thought at this point they would maybe, decide would test it out just a little bit, even in practice. And from everything I've read, not yet. All right. For me, I'm going to let this Tanner McKee train continue. I'm going to go Tanner McKee yet again. I thought he looked great. From all reports, the Eagles' offense has been dominant against the Browns. I expect Tanner McKee to get a good amount of snaps yet again. I mean, punt Ian Book to the moon. That guy sucks. Joins the Nick Mullins and the Clayton Thorsons of the world that I just never want to watch again. Yep. All right, so give me Tanner McKee one more time.
Tanner McKee. It's actually a solid pick just on playing time alone and how big.
Yeah. I want the win, man. I want that win.
You are going for the win. You're going to pick him next week too. I know it. Probably. But I'm going to go with the guy I just spoke with, Tyree Cleveland. I think he's going to get it in the end zone this week. They're going to continue to showcase him and see if they can that he's going to make this roster. The only down thing I see is maybe they don't play him because they had intended on putting him on the practice squad, and if he makes too many big waves, then they're going to lose him. They can't cut him. They have to keep him and get him through through waivers to get him to the practice squad. So I will go with Tyree Cleveland, my new preseason guy. I think I'm going to stick with him, Rob, throughout the whole thing now. I don't think I'm bad.
All right.
I'm holding you to it. I'm holding you to it now.
Yeah.
I mean, to my credit, I stuck with Britton Covey last year, and I did make the roster. So.
All right, we got to pick wins here.
Let's jump into the wins. Who we got winning? I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. I just don't think the Eagles are going to win. I think Ian Book gets in there at the end, and he's just garbage. He's absolute garbage. He doesn't even want to throw, which is so frustrating. You know, there's times like, hey, if you're going to make a team or progress in the NFL, like you got to take the chances at least. And he just didn't want to do it at all. So I'm going to go with the Browns. Rob?
All right, I'm going with the Birds. I think they, instead of having to kick field goals this week, they actually find ways to put the ball in the end zone. And I think by the time Ian Book comes in, it's not going to matter because they're going to be up 3 scores, against the Cleveland Browns. I just think, I don't know what the Browns' depth is defensively, but if they were getting torched with their ones in there defensively, I'm frightened to see what their 2s and 3s and 4s look like. So I'll go with the Birds in this one.
All right. Rob's going with the Eagles. Rye, who are you going with?
Yeah, I'm going with the Birds here. They're always good for one solid win. And, I think just continuation of what seems to be dominating the Browns throughout the week in the joint practices, I think continues. And, I think the Ian Book situation, like Rob said, is hopefully it will be up by enough so he doesn't hurt us.
Dobbs, you betting with your heart or you betting with your head?
Going with my head. I'm going Browns. I think the Eagles have dominated all throughout the joint practices. This is like that Browns revenge game where the Eagles are going to come out with the most vanilla game plan ever. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a great quarterback. He was one of the best performing quarterbacks in week 1. And I think a lot of people are going to know who that guy is by the end of tomorrow night. I'm going to go with the Browns. It is what it is.
Are you borderline rooting for the Browns?
Never. No, man.
Sounds that way to me.
Like a glimmer in his eye. Like, I don't think I saw a sparkle on the screen when he started talking about him.
Listen, you don't know this, but secretly every Sunday, Dives switches out of his Eagle stuff to his Jalen Rager Vikings jersey because he can't let the guy go. So, he could be rooting for the Browns.
Rob has some history with some Cleveland Browns fans. There's that. So
scumbaggiest city in the United States.
we once were doing a watch party, Eagles versus Browns, and a ton of Browns bombarded our chat. And Eagles lost. And Rob went on a rant for like 10 minutes on why the Browns suck, why Cleveland is a terrible city. It was amazing.
And by the way, that rant was brought to you by Corona, which I drank 12 of during that game. Everything was out the window by about the third quarter in that one.
It was so funny, man. It was great.
Chet, call me Chet, Jim Chet Chesko, Philly Press Box Radio, chiming in. You're really picking winners in the preseason game. Holy hell. It's fun. Guys wanted to start from the beginning. I don't know if you caught his preseason pick. He's going to pick the same third string quarterback all week to guarantee himself a win, because no doubt the quarterback can have stats.
I'm surprised he's not picking Nick Sirianni somehow.
What we'll do is like the winners of preseason, that'll determine who gets first pick in the first regular season game.
Hence why he's picking Tanner McKee every week.
There you go, Rob. Yes.
That's right.
Well, if you want to travel to any, before we go, if you want to travel to any of the Eagles games, I got also the spot for you, and that is phillysportstrips.com. I'm sharing the website up here right now. They got trips everywhere. Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, Eagles, Union, you name it. Ton of trips. Just scroll through, pick the trip you want. The trip to New England has currently sold out, so you can't get to the opener, but the next one up is September 25th. Bird's ultimate trip to Tampa. And hey, I know we had a lot of listeners that aren't in the Philadelphia area, which is why I kind of bring this up every week. They have a trip where you can actually come, Birds fly home. It's November 2nd to the 6th, where you can actually pay. They'll fly you from wherever you are to Philadelphia. It'll be a road trip for yourself to come watch a home game. And they pick the perfect opponent, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys, December 5th. At 4:25. So check out phillysportstrips.com today. Philly Press Box Radio is coming up here in about 15 minutes, 7 p.m. They have Paul Hagen, so stay tuned for them. Rob, where can everyone find you at?
Find me at Philly_Madness or right here with my boys at Party on Broad. That's about all I'm doing these days, boys.
Hell yeah. Ryan, you got a ton going on at the Sports Alliance, Philly Sports Alliance.
Yeah, we're doing shows throughout the week. My flagship show, Football Smack Talk, on Mondays. We got Birds of the Round Table on Tuesdays. We got a bunch of other shows throughout the week. Obviously, you can see me here, Twitter right here. And speaking of Philly Sports Trips, I just booked about 12 tickets for the New York Jets bus trip. So we're heading up.
NLP 10 in?
What was that?
No, wrong company. Sorry.
No.
They work together though, so it's all good.
There you go.
They're good.
But yeah, we'll be joining the buses up to New York, and we can't wait. It's gonna be a great trip.
Dude, their bus trips are so awesome. They're so awesome. They're high end, top shelf liquor, top shelf everything, top shelf food.
I was at the DC game last year, and I gotta tell you, I didn't even make it to the first quarter. I probably had about 15 Bloody Marys. I was just loving life.
Right, you just might have sold me on buying just a solo ticket, and me and you will hang out.
I might be joining you on that, Ryan.
Maybe we make a Party on Broad trip.
Party on Broad trip to the Meadowlands. I'm in.
Yo, let's do it.
It's a Sunday game. I am down.
I'll go on right now and book my ticket for that.
Yeah, dude, it's $99 to reserve it. Yeah, do it up.
I've been working with Dives on and off now for almost 4 years. I've met the guy one time. Once we met. So I'm all in.
Was that at the live show that we did?
Yeah.
That was the only time I've ever been in the same room as Dives.
That's well, I haven't yet, so I'm looking forward to it either way. But yeah, man, I can't wait for it. That'd be great if everybody came and everybody out there came too, because it is so much fun. The food, the drinks, the party, it's fantastic.
Dives, where can everyone find you? What new thing you got going? I just saw the 2024 top 5 NFL prospects dropped with Bleeding Green Nation. What else? That plus everything, really.
Jeez. All right. So Monday I did a show with Bleeding Burgundy and Gold. I joined a Washington Commanders podcast. We talked Eagles versus Commanders. A little preview there. Birds of the Round Table Tuesday nights. Awesome show. Doing a lot of the same stuff. Just a lot of fun. And then right before this, we had our top 5 2024 NFL draft prospect targets for the Eagles dropped for the next draft. That was really fun. Tomorrow, right before the Eagles game, I'll be doing a show with Tyson, breaking down the top Flyers prospects numbers 6 through 10, but that will be dropping Friday. We're not going to do it live. And tons of Eagles content, of course, post game, halftime live, all that kind of stuff will be going down tomorrow night. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, starting Monday night at 9 o'clock will be our first college football series. So you're going to get double Party on Broad every week for the foreseeable future, where we talk about top matchups, top games, who are the top prospects for the Eagles, who's performing the best, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you'll get BGN Draft Radio and Party on Broad, college football, NFL draft content, 2 shows a week, dropping every week for who knows when.
Great stuff. Great stuff. As always, you're a machine, man. And then you can find me at Freddie Burns _ as well as here every week, 6 p.m. Party on Broad, 8:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, EOP Live with Joe and Al, talking all 4 sports. And then I just signed up. We don't have a date ready, and I don't know if Ryan and Rob are in, but I'm ready to kick some. But I just signed up to a fantasy league within the EOP network.
Nice.
Rob, if Rob wants to get in here, I don't think he's on the Facebook thing. I'm not really on the Facebook message either. I'm there. I check it.
No,
I'm like,
I understand that.
So there's time. I think there's 4 slots, Rob.
I understand that I picked Kennedy Brooks, but I mean, come on. Somebody give me an invite to this. Don't be
Let's give Rob an invite. I signed up today. That's going to be a live draft, correct, Dives?
Yeah, so it was going to be next Monday, but I forgot about our college football show starting next week, so it's got to be rescheduled. We'll figure it out. Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Wait, where do I got to go to sign up for this? What the hell's going on?
So that'll be coming soon as well. But for Chris Dives, Ryan Reese, Rob Lange, I am Freddie Burns. We will see you next week, 6 p.m. Go Birds and screw the Sixers.